Welcome back to breaking coverage of President Trump's second pick to the Supreme Court, federal D.C. Circuit Court Judge Brett Kavanaugh. Conservatives are at odds whether a ruling on Obamacare signaled his implicit support of the law years ago. And they debate, too, where Kavanaugh is on abortion, since he's never directly confronted the issue as a judge and hasn't said publicly whether he'd overturn Roe v. Wade. But just days ago, he did dissent in the appeals court decision that allowed a pregnant, undocumented teenager in federal custody to get an abortion. Let's talk about it all with Tony Perkins. He's here to weigh in. He is the president of the Family Research Council. Good to have you tonight.
Shannon, good to be here.
All right. First of all, your gut reaction to this pick.
I'm actually a little surprised. I thought the president would want a bigger fight. I think this is a safe pick for the president. You know, any one of the 25 on the list would have been good. We trust this president, especially when it comes to the court. His team has done an outstanding job from the Supreme Court all the way down in picking constitutionalists, those who will abide by the Constitution and not use the judicial bench as a workbench for social policies that they craft in the shadows of the Constitution. So I think it's good. I actually thought that we'd have a bigger fight. I thought he would go a little stronger with maybe with Barrett or Hardiman, but I think it's a solid pick.
You want to talk about a fight? That one would have gone
well,
to
they would
a whole
clear
other
the
level,
benches. It would clear the benches,
yeah.
And that's the kind of the president we have. He likes to
like
rumble.
That stuff. So. All right, let me ask you. I want to give you a chance to answer a critic who said basically you've made a deal with the devil, is the way that they put it, so you could get these kinds of court picks. Eugene Scott, writing the Washington Post, says many like Perkins, who have been accused of turning a blind eye to Trump's character issues, alleged extramarital affairs, sympathizing with self-proclaimed white supremacists, and habitual deceptiveness, are pointing to the chance to drastically reshape the courts as an affirmation that their political calculation was overall in the best interest of expanding Christian values. How do you respond?
Well, the choice I had was between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, and I can assure you that we would not be having a discussion about a constitutionalist if Hillary Clinton were in the Oval Office. We would be looking at an acceleration of the court as a uber legislative body. And so, look, this president has kept his political promises, more so than any president that I've seen in my lifetime in terms of pursuing the things that he promised. And Ben Sasse made this comment about him setting a standard with a list that the American people have had an opportunity to vet. So I make no apologies about supporting the president in the general election and to this point. And I've been very clear with this administration. As long as the president keeps his promises, he keeps our support. That's why he got 81% of evangelicals supporting him. And to them, the court, 81%, same number, 81% said the court is important to them in terms of their vote because they know it's important in their daily lives. And that's only increasing with an activist court. Hopefully, we can get the court back in alignment with the Constitution.
All right, I want to ask you, because, of course, religious liberty is one of the issues that you all are very worried about. And there's an anonymous piece that was written in the Federalist that is entitled this: Potential Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh has a troubling record on religious liberty. They say this: the problem is that his vote is often littered with doctrinal time bombs that will do damage in years to come. This is cold comfort for the millions of Americans for whom religious liberty is not only the defining freedom of their existence, but also the one they feel is most under threat. Based on the evidence I've seen, according to the writer there, in his jurisprudence, Kavanaugh poses too big of a risk of disappointing on religious freedom to be placed on the nation's highest courts.
You know, I actually think when you look at his record on religious liberty, it's strong. First Amendment decisions are good. I think what he does a little bit is he is positioning his opinions to speak to the Supreme Court, which is why he has been quoted so many times at the Supreme Court level.
And persuasive.
And it is. So it's a different way. Probably not my preference, but that's how he operates, and he's been successful with it. But he still operates within the confines of the Constitution. But he's looking, you know, a couple moves down the road. So I think he's solid on religious liberty. I think he's solid on the life issue. I think he is, I think he is an originalist, and that's all we're asking for. We're not asking for an activist on the conservative side of the ledger. We're looking for someone who will stick to the Constitution. I actually think the Constitution is a good document. It still works. We just need judges who will interpret accordingly.
Well, a lot of those folks out there on the steps of the Supreme Court tonight, probably not big fans and don't see the Constitution the same way. Anyway, for now, you're happy with these picks, so we'll follow it and see what happens. Tony Perkins, thank you for coming in.
Shannon, good to be with you.